Let's okay, we are here. Happy St. Patrick's Day, everyone. Welcome. Thank you for joining us on our webinar regarding ownership and control. One of the criteria to be considered for social equity applicant approval. And so this is office hours. And what we are doing on this call is there is not a presentation. This is an opportunity for those who have joined us to ask us questions around ownership and control criteria for social equity application to the adult cannabis industry. And so what I will ask you to do is to put your questions in the Q&A, and we will respond to those questions. And so Kamala, I'm going to ask that you would respond to the questions. Today is Jennifer, who is normally joining us. Today is her birthday, and so we let her go home a little early today. So if you guys have any questions, please put those questions in the Q&A as it relates to ownership and control of a social equity cannabis venture. So we have about 9 participants so far. Okay, we don't have any questions yet. Hopefully you guys are thinking of them. And Como, let's go ahead and put the criteria on the screen. And let's see what our first question is.
You mean the document?
The document, yep. The criteria document.
Paige, can you allow me to share the screen?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Hi, Sarah. Given that the council and its attorney are working on policies and procedures for investments and ownership structure involving social equity applicants, and the applicant may have submitted final application with the operating agreements and management agreements by the time those policies and regulations are published, will applicants be permitted to amend their operating agreements or management agreements to conform to any regulations or policies after the application has been submitted? So it is not our intention right now, Sarah, to make any amendments to the criteria that we have already posted. There is only one thing that is under consideration, and it's under consideration at the April full council meeting. And I will tell you that that's only around the tax returns for non-social equity applicant backers. So the council may decide that it does not, that these non-social equity applicant backers or non-social equity backers do not need to submit their tax returns. Other than that, we are not at this time planning on making any other adjustments to the document that is on our website. And I hope that answers your question. The next question is, can social equity applicants invest capital in equity joint ventures with existing medical license holders? Can equity applicants, so equity joint venture or equity, I don't know that there is any prohibition to that, to anyone investing anywhere. I don't think the Social Equity Council certainly is not dictating that. And I don't believe that the Department of Consumer Protection has any restrictions to social equity applicants investing in a joint venture. I would pose that question, Tim, to the Department of Consumer Protection at dcp.cannabis@ct.gov. So I'm just saying that I don't know the answer 100%, but I will tell you that the Social Equity Council has no restrictions and does not cover that part of it. Okay, how many years do the social equity applicants have to own 65% of the company? Forever. I do not believe it is forever. I think it, Como, do you recall that? I want to say it was 7 years. But we can look that answer up for you. If you would submit that question to sec@ct.gov, we will give you an answer to that question. I don't know how many, I think it's 7.
Yeah, I will look it up and then we'll answer them later on.
Okay. Okay, Tim says, thank you. Okay, those are the questions that we have in the queue right now. And I'm going to Okay. I'm just trying to, Jennifer normally answers these questions as we respond to them. And so I'm just trying to help Kamala out so that when we answer them, other folks can see them.
Yeah.
Okay. So there is another question here. Can a company's operating and shareholder agreement contain an option for the non-social equity owner to buy out the social equity owner after the prohibition or transfer period ends for a pre-established amount? That is up to you. That is between the social equity applicant and its backer or the partners, how you submit the agreement. We are not providing legal advice. That's something you should probably ask an attorney, but make sure that when you do that agreement, that when we get you the answer on how long the social equity applicant must hold the license, that you do whatever you're going to do after that period. I see that there was a meeting today in regards to ownership and control definition. Speaking with my attorney, we are both wondering the answer to this question because we are not 100% certain for a social equity applicant that owns 65% ownership and control. Does the social equity applicant need to have 65% of the profit share, which is typically considered different from the ownership and control? So you do not need to have 65% of the profit. This is also a question that your attorney should be able to answer for you, making sure that this agreement is exactly what you want it to be and what you think it should be. That's how your attorney should be protecting you. But the Public Act, nor does the Social Equity Council dictate the ownership of profit and share, that would be between the two of you, the backer, and the agreements of the folks participating. Como, if I am, I am not attorney, I don't even play one on TV. So if if I get to something that I have misspoken, please do not hesitate to correct me.
No problem. And to this question, I just want to say that the Public Act 21-1 only provides that the social equity applicant needs to own 65% ownership and control in the business. That's all it says. So everything else is up to the social security applicant and his partners or investors, how they set that up in their agreement. Yeah.
Thank you. Will there be any additional guidance from the council or regulations published by the legislature regarding restrictions on ownership structure, profit sharing, management services and agreements, and so forth, et cetera? Not that I am aware of. Right now we have, we've posted the criteria, we've posted the documentation that you can submit. The building of the company, the building of the structure, the agreement are between the social equity applicants and their backers and or other partners. Okay, we just want to make sure it passes the SEC. What happened to that question? Oh, we just want to make sure it passes the SEC and DCP requirements on the profit and share. I don't want to be denied because the profit share percentages. Again, please send that question to DCP, dcp.cannabis@ct.gov. I do not believe either the Social Council, Equity Council, or the DCP are controlling profits and profit sharing. I don't know that that's a part of what the DCP is doing, but please send that question to them. Yeah, and again, on these office hours, I just want to give you a disclaimer that any information we give you is based on information we have received. Every application must go through the full review and verification process in order for a determination to be made whether the applicant meets the social equity application criteria or does not. So anything that we tell you today is clarifying, and we're answering based on information that we are receiving at this moment. So it is not, we're not giving you approval. We're not giving you an okay. We're not giving you go ahead, that's what you should submit. These are your decisions. These are your applications. The criteria is here. We are just trying to provide you clarification and information for you to make an educated decision. Can a company's, let me see, did we answer this one? Yeah, we answered that one. Any additional guidance from the council regulations? Yeah, so pretty much, as it relates to the process, as I said before, the horse is out of the barn. The council does not want to confuse anyone. The council does not want to make anything more difficult for social equity applicants. So we have given information. If there is any new information, it is always taken up by a full council vote. And so our next council meeting is on April 5th. And I would recommend that if you want to know the latest and greatest of what's going on, what the council has decided, you can join us at the next council meeting and hear the conversation, or you can check our website for the latest and greatest information after the council meeting, which we will post. So you can, in the public meeting calendar, well, April 5th is the next full council meeting. We meet the first Tuesday of every month. If you would like information on how to get registered to join that meeting or to join the public comment period, please send an email. requesting information or a link, or you can visit our website, and our website will show you and tell you how to get to the meeting. It'll have a link, it'll have the agenda posted at least 24 hours before the meeting happens. Also, just to note that our April meeting, we are planning for that meeting to be in person at the Legislative Office Building. Still, I believe we will still be able to, it'll be on CTN. So as far as Zoom, I do not believe there would be an opportunity for people to join via Zoom, but we can, we'll look into that. Okay. Okay, is there, let's see, is this list only for, I don't know what list, Mr. Marcano, that you're speaking about. So can you clarify that? Oh, the list that's on our screen.
Yes, I
Okay,
think that's
yeah.
what he's talking about.
Okay, if you're talking about the criteria that's listed on the screen, that is not just for, just for joint ventures. That is for anyone who is seeking a social equity applicant verification of ownership and control of a business. These are the documents, any combination thereof these documents that you have to show that you or the social equity applicant owns and controls the business. Okay. We have another question. The policy committee memo dated 3/14 mentions that control requires that the social equity members exercise operational authority over the daily affairs of the business. Can social equity applicants entities also name non-social equity members as managers via a board of managers, directors, and or delegate operational authority to a non-equity member? Kamala, I'm going to ask you to handle that one. I do not believe you can delegate operational authority to a non-social equity applicant. The ownership and control is for the social equity applicant, but Kamala, you can.
Yeah, thank you, Director Ray. So here the statute is pretty clear, as Director Clay just put it out. The social equity applicant needs to be in the position of owner and needs to be in control of the business. Now, we understand that there will be some situations where that person has employees and agent working, but that person needs to be in control. One way or the other, it needs to be proven through the document that will be submitted that that person is in control. That's what we're looking for here. That's what the statute said, Public Act 21-1.
Someone asked if I could send you an email of the document that is on the screen. I am going to put in the chat the link. This document is on our website, and I would encourage you to continue to visit the Social Equity Council website. Let me see if I can add an answer here. Okay, I just sent that link. And I hope all of you can see it. If you cannot see the link to this document, just send a question here and I'll paste that information. Yeah, so we're answering that question right there. Okay. Let's see. Can you be qualified for social equity through the general lottery? In other words, if I run out of time to get my social equity application in, no. There is the social equity lottery, and then there is the general lottery. So you will not, when you are in the general lottery, you are considered a general lottery, expected to pay full fees and follow all of the instruction of the general lottery. Now, reminding folks that this is the first lottery. We are fully expecting a second social equity lottery. And if you do not make this round, you will have an opportunity to apply in the next round. So I hope that is helpful. Do you know a timeline of how long it takes the SEC and the outside hired vendor to review the applications coming in for EJVs? So the applications will not be reviewed until the application period has ended. We expect that to be in May. We may be able to do the EJVs a little sooner. We are approving the process by which the applications are reviewed, both lottery and non-lottery social equity, at the April meeting of the council. And once that process for review has been confirmed, we can then have our third-party vendor begin the review and of the applications, but we do not expect to start officially reviewing them until the application period closes. Can you repeat how long SCA applicant has to own the? Yeah, we didn't give you an answer to that, so we're looking that up. Like I said, I believe it's 7 years, but don't quote me on that if my memory serves me correctly, but sometimes my memory doesn't serve me correctly. For the purpose of demonstrating ownership and control for applicants using a holding company structure, the social equity member owns 65% of the holding company, and that owns an applicant entity. Are the backers both on the holding company entity and all of its qualifying members, or just the qualifying members? That one's going to take a little thought. Let me get to your next question. What are affiliates and are those backers? Affiliates are any companies that control your venture, your social equity venture for cannabis. So if you have folks who are, and Kamala, again, if I do not answer this correctly, but if you have a company that, let's say you share a board of directors, or you share equipment, or you share a location, and one company has the ability to affect the other company, that is an affiliate company. Are they backers? Not necessarily. So that company, that other company that is heavily involved in let's just say your social equity venture, if they are not putting money, if the company does not own 5% or more, or members of the company don't own 5% or more, they would not be considered backers if they're not putting money into it. Backers are people who are investing and have 5% or more ownership in the company. And so the other question, for the purposes of demonstrating ownership and control, Kamala, are you able to answer this question?
You mean the one you just answered?
The one that that I skipped.
Okay, which one is that?
For the purposes of demonstrating ownership and
Okay,
control.
applicant using a holding company structure. Members own 65% of a holding company that owns an applicant entity. Are the backers both the holding company entity and all of its qualifying members, or just the qualifying members? So the question is not very clear. and it's very hypothetic. So I would say if the anonymous attendee wants more information or would like to provide more information so that we have a better answer, they could contact the agency, and I'll be able to speak to them uh, if necessary, because I just need more clarity in this question to be able to answer properly.
And please remember that the Social Equity Council is not verifying companies. We are verifying individuals. So we are verifying humans, not a holding company structure for social equity verification, whether that be for ownership and control, whether there's a holding company that has several members and you're going to send information on the holding company. We are not doing that. We are verifying humans, individuals, not companies. So that maybe answers your question. And just remember that our special email address is sec@ct.gov. So anonymous attendee, if you don't have clarification on this question, please send it. I'm sure, if you're the same anonymous attendee that's been with us for the last few weeks, you've heard this email address before, but I will put it in the chat. Yeah, and we don't, we're not doing kind of hypothetical again. We are not providing legal advice to companies. We are answering questions based on information given to us at this moment. Every application, every situation must go through the full review and verification. You must complete the application and go through the review and verification process to determine if you are a social equity applicant and qualified as such. Okay, and again, this is here about the ownership of the company. We will get back to you. We're researching that now. Okay, what are affiliates? That's being answered. We answered that already. Does each member of an LLC have to register as a backer regardless of ownership percentage? Or does each member only have to register as a backer if they have 5% or greater? So you have to register as a backer if you have 5% or more ownership. If you have a less than 5%, you are not considered a backer. And yeah, so it's 5% ownership or greater, you have to register. We're looking for information from you on that. And each member of the LLC, if the members of the LLC are looking to be social equity applicants, each member has to provide information to show that the members, the social equity applicants, own 65% of the business. So I don't know how many members of the LLC that there are, but those members must total at least 65%. And if you are a social equity applicant backer, you have to submit a backer application. Good questions. Okay, we have the question of what are affiliates. We're answering that question. Okay. Just again, our next full council meeting is April 5th. Our meetings begin at 10 o'clock. We are planning for that meeting to be in person at the Legislative Office Building. If you would like to or think of questions later that you didn't think of at this moment, you can send them to sec@ct.gov related to ownership and control. You can also send your questions around residency or income. At this time, I usually say if we don't have a lot of questions, I'm happy to answer questions in another area, but let me see, we just got a couple of new questions that came in. Okay, so because equity joint ventures with social equity applicants are newly created entities, backer tax returns from past years could not show any ownership interest. Excuse me. If the equity joint venture is created this year, is the backer required to file tax returns that will not show any ownership interest? Could they send notarized letter or send a CPA or attorney letter advising? So Thomas, I would strongly recommend that you attend or follow up at our next full council meeting. We are taking up the issue of backer tax returns. So if the backer is a non-social equity applicant, the council will be discussing whether the tax returns will be required or are needed. So that is something that I can tell you that is in the works that was discussed at our policy committee meeting today. So please follow up with the April 5th full council meeting. That's where that matter will be come before the full council and a vote or decision should be made. There'll be some conversation around that. For a social equity applicant, all members are above 5%, but do not contribute financially. Will the 65% member fill out the SEC backer and the minority owners fill out the non-social equity backer? Okay, let me read this one again. For the social equity applicant, all members are above 5%, okay, but do not contribute financially. So you have ownership, but you're not making a contribution. You will still need, I'm not sure how you are a 5% owner, but you're not making any financial contribution to the company. Let me say this, that there is, of the 65% ownership, if you are applying for social equity application, you have to, all members who are making up the 65% have to be identified and have to complete the application each. If you are a non-social equity backer and or owner, you still, anyone with 5% or more ownership must submit information. So it's ownership, it's not 5% or more investment. That's what the public act says. So I think the answer to the question is, and the non-owners fill out yes, is the question. I mean, I'm sorry, is the answer. And we have list of employees, job titles, dates of employment, including affiliates. So this is needed for the lottery. It is not needed for the lottery. So if that is not available, that's more a part of your business plan, about your business agreements and business organizational charts. So you do not list those. I believe on this document it says if available. And this also says that you provide what is relevant to your company. So if you do not have a list of employees, job titles, dates of employment for qualifying as a social equity applicant, we do not need that information. You may need it for full license. And again, that's a question for the DCP. Okay, they are taking on a loan. Okay, I don't know if this is, okay, Karen, I believe this is to your other question about 5% ownership, but not investing. That you're saying that the 5% owners are taking out a loan to put into the business. If that is the case, they're still investing. They have to pay that loan back. So they're still investing in the business. So they're considered investors if they've signed debt to open up this business or to be a part of it. Okay. As a sole proprietor who doesn't yet have an LLC, I was curious whether there are any restrictions on converting my sole proprietorship to an LLC after the lottery. This question came up before, and I don't know if you asked this question before. So going from a sole proprietor to an LLC, and again, this is a hypothetical question that we cannot give you a solid answer on because we don't know what that LLC is going to look like. So if you are opening up, and again, these are hypotheticals, if you're a sole proprietor, you are 100% owner and responsible for the business. When you open up an LLC, that means that you have limited liability of the company, but we don't know if you're adding a partner, if there's going to be 2 or 3 other people a part of this LLC, and how that LLC will change the sole proprietor. I don't know if you plan to be a 100% owner in an LLC. So there's not enough information here for us to help you, but I would safely say changing the structure of a business would change the structure of your application. So be very careful in doing this after the lottery is over. If you are given a provisional license, you're given a provisional license in the manner of which you have represented yourself and your company. And I don't believe that DCP would take kindly to you making a change, but I would also strongly recommend that you can send that question to dcp.cannabis@ct.gov. That is not something that the council is monitoring. Okay, that was in reference to my earlier question. Okay, Karen, if I've answered your question, let me know. If I haven't, please, you can ask it again. Okay. Como, do you have anything that you want to add at this time? Any words of wisdom, or have we found the number of years?
I haven't got opportunity to search for the number of years, but if there's one thing I could add is, especially to individual applicant, is that you're better served by getting counsel to advise you because the statute is big. So it won't be it will be useful for you to seek counsel for this kind of thing. These meetings are basically just to provide general information so that people get to know the counsel better. But for your specific situations, your specific type of investment, or whatever specific question that you may have, it's just better for you to maybe get a counsel also, seek legal counsel so that they can answer some of these questions for you, because some of the questions you guys are asking will require more information and will require someone who really is advocating for your business, or who knows your business deep and thorough. So that's my advice for all of you. Seek legal counsel to help you through this process put everything together and submit and things like that. Thank you. Do we have any more question? No. So
So anonymous attendee, the number of years that the social equity applicant must own the business, please send that question to sec@ct.gov, and we will respond to you with the accurate number. Like I said, I'm almost positive it's 7 years. Okay, we have a couple more questions here. Oh, okay. You're quite welcome. Once a business has received full license, would they be able to add backers? That is a DCP question. dcp.cannabis@ct.gov. Please send that question there. We cannot answer that question. I know it says you can't add backers, but I don't know if that means you can't add backers during the licensing process, during your application for full licenses, or if that means forever in that particular business. So definitely send that question to the DCP. Yeah, we don't have a way of, if you have the same question about the number of years, the social equity applicant has to own the license. Please send that. We do not have, oh, well, maybe we can. I don't know who is all on this call, but you can send it to us and we will respond to you, to everyone that has it. But I don't think we have a way at this time to send out a mass email notifying people of that question. We also can work on putting it on frequently asked questions on our website. Kamala, you are sharing your screen. I don't know if you're aware of that. Okay. Oh, we have some more questions. Let's see. Okay, you're welcome.
Let me know if you want to have that document up again.
Okay. Let me see. I think it's 3 years. Oops. Okay, once a business has okay, we already answered these ones. Okay, under Senate Bill 1201, Section 36, it says 3 years. They will have to hold. Thank you for that. Let me check. I'll also check my. Okay, we're waiting on any other questions that you all may have. I'm just gonna do a little research in the meantime. Okay, yep. So I believe anonymous attendee did research, and it does say here in the Public Act, and I will read this since we have a few minutes. So it says the act requires the Social Equity Council to adopt regulations to prevent, with one exception, a cannabis establishment license awarded to a social equity applicant from being sold to or changing ownership or control such that it is owned or controlled by someone other than another social equity applicant during the provisional licensure period and for 3 years after final license, except under certain circumstance. And the circumstance is for cases where the backer has died or has a condition including physical illness or loss of skill or deterioration due to the aging process or an emotional disorder or mental illness that that would interfere with the backer's ability to operate. So it is the 3 years. And let's see, what do we have? 2 more questions that have come up. Let's see what they are. The EJVs must hold. Yeah, Kamala, can you confirm section 27? That the EJVs must hold for 7 years? Could you confirm that this is the list of requirements for a backer and non-social? Yeah, I'll click here. This could be yep. So I cannot confirm. This is a DCP document. And so I would ask you to have the DCP confirm this as the requirements for backers. I think you're on mute.
I'm
You're
on
on mute.
your,
I can hear you because you're right behind me, but I don't know what else can.
Yep. Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Awesome. So section 27, 145 basically say it requires producers and dispensaries to create equity joint ventures in order to pay a lower license expansion, authorization fee, and hybrid retailer conversion fee, set minimum ownership. And it clearly says it prohibits ownership changes in an equity joint venture first 7 years. So for the first 7 years, it prohibits changes in that venture for most part. Yeah, and you can find this information in section 27 and section 145 of the Public Act.
Okay, we've got 6 minutes left to this office hour. And again, happy to answer any last minute questions that you might have. If you think of some questions later today, please do not hesitate to send those questions or tomorrow or the next day to the sec.ct.gov. A reminder that the next full council meeting will be April 5th at 10 a.m. at the Legislative Office Building. You can certainly email us at the sec@ct.gov email address to receive more information. You can also visit our website and you will have links to our upcoming meetings, especially the next one, and the latest and greatest information on what's going on with social equity application verification process. Okay. You are welcome. And yes, we will see you next time. All right, that about wraps it up. It's I don't know that we're going to get any additional questions in the next 4 minutes. So with that said, I'm just going to say thank you to this person and just give you one more chance for one last question. We had some really good questions tonight, so I'm glad that we were here for you, and I'm glad we were able to answer questions, and I hope that you found them to be quite helpful. Karen Foreman, you have your hand raised. If there is something that you'd like to put into the question and answer, or maybe it was from before, but we don't usually do a dialogue during these. So again, happy to respond to you with you putting your question in the Q&A. We do have a last question and a thank you. And thank you, Garrett, for being with us today. And Karen says, just wanted to say thank you and follow up with an email question. Great. Okay, we'll be looking forward to getting that question. And one more for EJVs. I know that there is some suggestions from the SEC to the legislative office about capping the EJVs to 2 current medical providers. If we submit on May 3rd and May 4th, they approve the suggestions of only 2, will that affect our application if we have more than 2? So we don't, I can't say what the legislature is going to do at this time, and I don't know if they're going to act on it. So I'm not going to tell you that it will affect, it won't affect, because it's something that hasn't happened yet. So let's cross that bridge when we come to it. Now we are fully cognizant of the fact that, you know, as I said before, that the horse is out of the barn. And so I do not believe the legislature nor the council will be looking to, you know, to cause harm or to make anything difficult. But again, we have to see what the members of the legislature say, what they suggest, and what the council wants to do. Okay, so don't have a yes or no for you. I just have a stay tuned. Okay. And with that said, we have 2 minutes, and I'm going to say thank you again for joining us. Please check our website. We are in the process of developing other webinars around security, around local, dealing with local municipalities, around security, finding a location for your business, just how to negotiate a lease. So some tips and tools and best practices around that. And again, keep up with our website and you'll find the latest and greatest. And with that said, I wish you a wonderful, safe evening. Happy St. Patrick's Day to all that celebrate, and be careful. Kamala, Paige, thank you and good night.